Hey, this is Austin with ChurchTechIdeas.com, and this is how you can use ProPresenter to control your lighting. I've got ProPresenter open here on my Mac, and I am remoting into a Windows laptop here that I have a program called QLC Plus running, which is a lighting control software. And here's what we're going to accomplish. Let me bring up QLC Plus on Windows. And you see when I click this button, it will turn on lights if you have lights set up to this program. And then when I go over here on my Mac, remember this is the laptop and this is my Mac. And when I click the slide in ProPresenter, it clicks the button over here in QLC Plus on a different computer over our network. This can also be set up to run on the same computer. Let me show you how to set this up. First, I'll show you how to accomplish this over a network using two computers. If you're going from a Mac to a Mac, you can use the built-in MIDI Studio that is provided with Mac OS. If you're going from a Mac to a PC or a PC to PC, you're going to need a program called RTP MIDI. This is the RTP MIDI site. It is by a guy named Tobias, and so if you just search Google for RTP MIDI, you'll bring this right up. The other program you're going to need is QLC Plus, or if your lighting board supports a MIDI input, that'll work too. Basically, any lighting board or software that supports a MIDI input will work. I'll be using a Mac and a Windows computer. You're also going to need to purchase the ProPresenter Communications module, which you can do here if you go to Preferences and Modules, and right now I'm just going to demo it, but you would scroll down and buy the Communications module, which I believe is like $100. So let's click Demo Modules. So this is going to enable everything. So once you've enabled it, you'll see this Communications tab, which we will use in just 1 second. So real quick, search MIDI on your computer, on the Mac. MIDI, and it's going to bring up this Audio MIDI Setup app. And you're going to go, if it brings up this window, you're going to actually go up to the window option here at the top, and you're going to choose Show MIDI Studio. So we're going to go over and click this network icon here, and it's going to bring up this other window, and you're just simply going to click this plus icon, and you can name your session whatever you want. I'm going to name this my Mac. And we're going to click Enable. So now this is broadcasting a signal over your network, and both the computers need to be on the same network, mind you. Now we're going to go to the Windows laptop, and with the RTP MIDI program, you're going to do pretty much the same exact thing. We'll change the name here to PC, laptop, and change the Bonjour name also. It's important when you're installing this to click the option to install Bonjour. It I think it's imperative that you do that. Okay, and we are going to click Enable like this. And now you'll see over here on my Mac, the PC laptop pops up. So we're going to select that and click Connect down here. So now these two computers are talking to each other over the network with MIDI signals. Let's go back here on the laptop and open up QLC Plus. First, let's add a light, generic light real quick. And then we're gonna go to Functions and add a scene. And add that light to the scene. And then we're gonna click on the light up here, and we're gonna enable this channel and turn it up. Then we're gonna go to the virtual console, and we're gonna create a button. And we're gonna double click the button, and we're going to assign that function we just made to that button. So now you'll see when we click the play button here, I can click it, it turns on, click it again, it turns off. Click on the Inputs Outputs button here. And then on this list, we're gonna find the name that you named your RTP MIDI program, and you're gonna choose Input here. So now let's head back over to the Mac, to ProPresenter, back to that Communications module. And we're gonna click Add Device, choose MIDI. You have sources and destinations, and so the destination is this MIDI network setup. So we're going to choose my Mac, which is the same thing right here. It's a session, and the session is joining the Mac and the Windows computer together. So we're going to choose my Mac, click Save, and we're going to click Connect. So now all we got to do is right click this slide up here and do Add Queue, Communications, Queue, MIDI on or off, doesn't really matter, I think, not sure on that. I would just always choose on. And now you have a channel option and a note. So this is the specific signal you want to send. And then you have intensity. So this is kind of like if you think about a soundboard, the slider on a soundboard to turn the volume up and down. So pretty much these are musical notes, and so the sound needs to at least be, or the intensity, sorry, needs to be at least 1. Otherwise it wouldn't hear the signal, if that makes sense. And click done, and then let's head over back to the Windows computer, and we are going to click this edit button right here, and we're going to double click the button. Here's the external input section, and you could try to figure out how to type in the notes, but it's easier to press this auto detect button. So click that, so it's highlighted blue, so it's listening for a MIDI signal. And we're going to go back over to the Mac and click on this slide, and you'll see it automatically puts in the MIDI signal that this slide is sending out. And we will click OK. And now we'll go back out of edit mode, and here's the magic. When you click this ProPresenter slide, it's going to click the button on QLC Plus. And one thing I don't really like about this is, well, it's good and bad. When you click it, it just toggles it on and off. So, for instance, at my church, I have the people running our slides. We have a first slide that they click, and whenever they go back to click it again, it turns all the lights off. So like you click it to turn it on, and then you click it again to turn it off. It happens by mistake all the time, but only during practice, so it's not that big of a deal. At my church, I have it set up so that each song has a collection that gets played from one button. So song 1, song 2, song 3, and then in the button labels, I put which reference to the MIDI cue it is. So when you go over here to ProPresenter, I know that, okay, this is the first slide of the first song. I can right click it and go to the cue and add number 1 here. And then I'll go to this one and make it number 2. You see the number there. Same with this one, is number 3. So then I go into QLC Plus and I make sure that all those signals are right. I just changed this one, so let me change it back. Okay, so now you'll see I will click the slide and it's going to activate the button I want it to. So one other thing that you need to do is for these particular buttons, if you set it up this way, you're going to want to put them into a solo frame. And so what that does is, currently when I click the button, it just adds each button to the thing. It doesn't turn the other ones off. So if you put them in a solo frame, let's copy all those, paste them in here, like so. Delete these ones. Oop. Wrong button. All right. So now you'll see when I click this slide, it activates that button. When I click number 2, it deactivates number 1. And when I click number 3, it deactivates number 2, and so on and so forth. Now if you want ProPresenter and QLC Plus running on the same computer, it's a slightly different setup. Let me show you that now. So you're not going to need the network setup, but you still will need the MIDI Studio. And now you're going to click on this IAC driver, which stands for Internal Application Control, I believe. So we'll double click that, and we'll click Device is Online, and that's it. And we'll click, if you can click Apply, but I don't think I need to right now. We'll close this out, and now we'll go back into ProPresenter, back up to the settings, the preferences, and modules. I need to re-enable these real quick. Okay, we'll go back to Communications module, and we're going to delete this one, and we'll do Add Device, MIDI, and you'll see bus 1 is what the destination will be. And we'll click Save and connect to it. And now when we go into QLC Plus, let me get this set up real fast. We'll go back into the inputs and outputs, and we should see an option for IAC driver, and we'll click that and select that as the input. Okay, so now with the same setup that we had before, when I click this first slide, clicks that, and there, and this is all on the same Mac computer, just using the IAC driver instead of the network driver. And that's it. Let me know if you have any questions in the comments below. I'll be happy to help.